when it comes to pain, you just have to give it all. Like I just have to, I feel like it's a cathartic moment for me when I puke the worm, when I cut my toes. Also as Lea, as me.
Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.
Hi, I'm Javier Ibarreche with De Estreno, and I'm here with Lea Myren, star of the movie The Ugly Stepsister. Lea, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm a bit cold. I'm at a cabin in the woods in Norway, but I'm excited to be here talking to you guys early in the morning in
Yeah,
Mexico.
I'm excited to talk to you as well. I just recently watched the movie, and I there's just so much to unpack here. I want to start by asking one thing becomes quite clear throughout the movie, and even from the title, which is that Elvira defines herself, her identity, based on Agnes, also known as Cinderella. She's not
Mhm.
Elvira; she's the stepsister of Agnes. She even signs up her name for the princess party as Elvira von Stepsister. She tries to
Mm.
fit in Cinderella's dresses and shoes. She becomes obsessed with reaching the standard set by Cinderella. I was wondering
Mm.
if there's a way that you can relate this somehow to the filmmaking industry. Is there ever a moment where you define yourself as an artist based on someone else or someone else's work?
Wow, never gotten that question before. It's very interesting. Um, to be honest, no. I'm quite free in my work, and I know that also nobody can do my work, and I can never do anyone else's work. But of course, it exists a lot of pressure of course, especially acting industry and Hollywood. You know, we have all these superstars that look a certain way or act a certain way, or also f female characters are often portrayed as um, we have a lot of weak female characters in cinema, I think. But you know, recent years and also, of course, there is examples from before times also where female characters that have an uprising when it comes to strong characters.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I feel kind of free in that sense that I'm doing what I can do, and they no one else can do what I can do, sort of.
I appreciate that. And I want to dig a bit deeper into your particular work in this movie. I love it when the form of a movie is connected to its meaning as well. And I think in this movie, it also happens with the acting, because this is the story of a woman who transforms her body, trying to tame it or to control it. The
Yeah.
body language of Elvira evolves throughout the movie, and you as an actress showcase this mastery of your body because being this a body horror movie, there has to be an incredible control over the body. You do things that are painful to watch in the movie. I wanted to hear from you in this regard, the work with the body. How did Elvira's physical transformation help you create these moments of pain that we see?
Mm, thank you. So my work is heavily bo physical. This is bodily. I work with my body a lot, and I'm actually trained bodily. So, but one thing that helped me the most in my process was the prosthetic makeup. We worked together, me and Thomas Folberg, the prosthetic makeup designer, a lot before shooting, and we created all these stages of Elvira. And when we created all these stages and went from this innocent, young, dream-like girl to this self-destructive being, it helped a lot to have all the stages there. And so the prosthetic, you know, having a broken nose on your face and looking your and feeling broken makes you act broken, I think. And so I think it
Hmm.
just this is really important as a physical actor to have sort of the costume, the makeup, and everything just sort of good. It has to be good for me to portray it good, I think. And also, when it comes to pain, you just have to give it all. Like I just have to, I feel like it's a cathartic moment for me when I puke the worm, when I cut my toes. Also as Lea, as me, just because I'm like, when are we ever screaming that much when if we're not
Right.
ever, you know? And you know, we carry as human beings, we carry a lot of anger, I think, and we are tamed, or we're taught to tame it, and we're taught to be silent a lot of times, especially in society today. And as women, we're told to be quiet and follow along. And I think for me, it was just such a great thing to be able to do, to just scream it out and just like let out all my personal anger into this pain and sort of use it as a therapeutical moment.
Right. There's a thing I'm wondering also that it has to do with this physical transformation. In this movie, beauty goes through many definitions. We see beauty as pain when Elvira goes to the doctor, or beauty as competition when all these women and girls are being categorized, beauty as sacrifice, beauty as submission. Has
Mm.
your idea of beauty changed after making this movie? And if so, how would you define beauty if if it is possible?
I came into this movie with kind of like me as a person, I have the knowledge of what beauty is, and I think I had it before this movie also because I've worked a lot on self-love and self-acceptance. But of course, doing all these interviews and talking about it, I'm more and more aware of the amount of different definitions of beauty that lies in society and where it comes from, sort of. We have to look kind of deep into history to understand beauty standards because they've evolved throughout times, but also with the along with the position of women in society. So it's also a hierarchical, you know,
Yeah.
hierarchy in sort of, yeah, sorry, my English. Um, but for me, I mean, playing Elvira, I realized she's the most beautiful in like the beginning. Like that's when she like I feel like she shines beauty when she lights up when she sees these dresses when she's excited about the poetry. She's like a little dreamer and she's just young and naive and I think it's so beautiful. Children, I think, are the most beautiful creatures because they're not aware that they have an appearance of, and when they play, they're just into this creative force and they have this creative force where they're just free of themselves. And I think this is where true beauty lies, like when you can forget yourself a bit and enjoy the small things in life. And like now, for example, I'm in the forest and just looking at raindrops on a leaf makes me think of beauty, like the small things in
Right.
life and just trying to be mindful about where you put your attention. Is it inside of yourself or is it on the outside? So, yeah.
And speaking of paying attention to something specific, like in the original story of Cinderella, or the story that most people know, the villain is the stepmother. But when
Mm.
shifting the focus to the stepsister, the stepmother character is the one that encourages all these alterations for Elvira to fit a beauty standard. But I didn't see the stepmom as the villain. I saw her more as somebody who's trying to survive through very
Yeah.
twisted methods, maybe, but survival
Yeah.
nonetheless. Who
Yeah.
would you say is the villain of the story, if there is a villain at all?
I think that's what's great about the script when I first read it. I didn't know who was sort of the good and evil, Fairy tales often have this sort of very structured way of telling who's evil and who's not. And I think it was such a clever way of retelling this story and focusing on the stepsister because nobody is really a villain in this story. I think if we have to point a finger, it's just the society around them that and the patriarchy and just how things work sort of and the structures that we're constantly living in. Like we have to change the bigger pictures to change individuals, I think, also with politics and everything. Like we have to, there's really a bigger scale of it that has to change. Um, and yeah, I think my mom, she's a victim, like you say. I think it's really sad to see how also she has to just earn her way through life. I mean, she has to earn money and she has to sell herself. She has to let go of her daughters to survive. I mean, I still pity her somehow. I still feel for her. Like she's also a victim. They're all sort of victims. And I think Cinderella doesn't really win in this story either. She
Of
gets this
course.
dull prince that doesn't love her and just wants her appearance. And like as a woman, you kind of don't want that. You want someone to love you for who you are. And it's just nobody really wins, maybe except Alma and Elvira. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You mentioned now the prince. I love that in the movie, the prince is ideal in Elvira's fantasies, but in
Yeah.
reality, he's just like this privileged asshole, right? Like he just
Yeah.
goes along doing whatever. And I love that there's a big part of the movie that has no music, only the sounds of Elvira's body breaking. But when she imagines the prince and idolizes their encounters, there is music, and very peculiar music too. The whole thing becomes like a fantasy. I wanted to
Mm.
hear your perspective on this shift in tone as an actress playing Elvira, what was it like to change from these like dreamlike scenarios with the prince to the cruel
Yeah.
reality of Elvira and her relationship to the actual prince?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think the dream sequences are quite beautiful in the way that that's what I love about Elvira because she has this like absurd, like not at all realistic dreams, but they're beautiful. They're beautiful dreams, and like it all seems amazing, but it's also quite sad that this is what she dreams about, like
Yeah.
this sort of meeting with just the prince because what? Because it's a prince and he's handsome. Like, what about his values? What about who he actually is? What about, the real stuff? And I think it was just very fun to play them because I knew that I was giving the other Elvira dreaming about them um, a bit of a absurdity in it's hard to explain, but I was giving myself things to play on. You know what I mean? Like as an actor
Yeah,
also,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was giving myself so in the scenes where I'm actually breaking down and looking at Cinderella and actually going to the prince and just falling down the stairs and just like crying and everything's broken, it was quite hard for me to do this because then I had the reference to my dream where I'm the one that is greeted on these stairs. And there's realization that I lost. I did all this shit to myself and I lost. And I think this is also something about these dream sequences like oh, if I just do a nose job, everything will be fine. If I just do my boobs,
Yes.
everything will be fine. And if I just get rid of my acne, I will be happy again. And then it's like, yeah, but you're still left with yourself. It's like running away from the real issues, which is here, It's like um and Elvira is also never really happy with all these procedures. Like she looks into the mirror after she's taken off the nose clamp and she's not happy about what she sees, even though she did all this stuff. And I think this is also a reflection that I hope people catch.
Yeah, this idea of if I just get this, then I'll be happy. If I just get this, then I'll be happy. When even the movie starts with Elvira being like shot an arrow by the prince, it's like
Yeah.
from the get-go they let us know what the end is kind of going to be like.
Yeah.
Just very quickly, before I wrap it up, I love that this movie is like an evolution of the fairy tale, like a modern telling of the fairy tale, because we grew up with like a version that was like infantilized and idolized, and
Mm,
this is a retelling of the story of Cinderella, but from the perspective of stepsister Elvira. Changing the perspective changes the whole story. We see how
mm.
Elvira was pushed to become obsessed with a specific idea of beauty, and we empathize with her for most of the movie. I was wondering, is there any other fairy tale that you would like retold with a change in perspective? Like another fairy tale that we would see from the point of view of a different character that you think this might be
Um,
interesting to explore?
I mean, all of them. I mean, Sleeping Beauty. I mean, all these like like all these whole new Hollywood versions of the fairy tales. I think actually like Maleficent was quite interesting take on Cinderella
Hmm.
because it's all like I think that's actually one of because I mean it's still I still have some issues with it as a feminist, but like I still find it interesting how yeah, I just wish all these Disney princesses that are just kind and cute and virgins got a real woman to play them and realness and sort of I just wish we also as parents and like to show real good female characters and not just these innocent women in these fairy tales. But I mean, I don't know about any specific ones, but I just think let's start with the classic Disney ones and give them some humanity.
Amazing. Well, Leah, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations on the movie. It is, I just, it shook me so much. I really loved it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions. They were very unexpected and cool.
I appreciate that. I aim for that.
I'm going crazy. I've lost my mind.
Con Gaby Cam y Javier Ibarreche.